Order from Councilor Valentin. This is that the City Council adopt a resolution affirming the City of Holyoke's commitment to being a safe and accepting community. That a copy of the resolution be provided to Senator Humison, State Representative Vega, and Governor Baker. Proposed resolution wording is included.
Shortly after the November 2016 election, I had filed an order regarding an anti-hate resolution. And as we know, resolutions are not law-binding, they're not ordinances, they're basically a very easy way to really send a strong message of what we stand for and what we stand against as a body, as a community, as a city.
Back in 2015, not only was I, attacked and they said, racial slurs, but homophobic one as well. And I just don't understand why this has been in limbo for so long. I don't get it. It's to protect. It's simple, and I just don't understand why it hasn't been passed.
I'd just like to speak in support. I think that, as with any resolution, it's symbolic in nature, and I think that the symbolism here is that, just as the title says, we're a safe and accepting community. I believe we are a safe and accepting community, and I also know that there have been incidents of hate crime and discrimination in the city. Right after this order was filed, right before this order was filed, there was the anti-Semitic graffiti on the face of Mount Tom.
So shortly after the November 2016 election, knowing that so many changes were coming through in terms of folks feeling safe in their own neighborhoods based on all sorts of protected classes and different categories, it seemed like a no-brainer.
Councilor Leahy.
Yeah, thank you. So last time that we had this in front of us, one of the things that I asked to be included, since it was it was adding different groups of people, so I asked for public servants to be involved, specifically police officers, because I can't think of a group in the city of Holyoke that gets, for lack of better words, hated on every single day.
There's an article that came out in Newsweek that says the persecution, this is January 4th, 2018, the persecution and genocides of Christians across the world is worse today than at any time in history. Now, people aren't born Jewish, so to speak. It's a faith that you accept, right? I was born a Catholic and a Christian. So my question is, and it was when this first came up, is that, if you're going to put anti-Semitic, anti-Christian should be in there as well. Because again, Christians are being slaughtered. Try being a Catholic in Egypt or Syria. Guess what? It doesn't happen. Or North Korea, as a matter of fact.
So when I first introduced the order in November 2016, a lot of those same comments were exactly repeated in the same fashion. That it was not including everyone, that there were groups that were still missing. And so I think the piece of the narrative that still to this moment is missing is that this is about specific groups of protected classes and folks that, even before the November 2016 election, have been most definitely treated in a different way based on their race, their color, their ethnicity, their religion, their sexual orientation, their gender expression, and so on and so forth. And so, to me, it was more important that we send the message of this is why, as a community, we do not accept hate towards any of these groups that we're clearly talking about, instead of why is this group or that group not included.
We don't have to go on for 2 more pages about certain religions and certain lifestyles because it's not inclusive. There's nothing about people that are born with a disability, nothing about people that are born with autism. Some people in this world believe that people aren't born a lifestyle, they become that lifestyle. And I have no opinion on that, but let's get that out there. Let's talk about that. I mean, I just don't think that, the order that we accepted in the first paragraph of Jossie's order is right on point. We don't have to get into this whole, anti-Semitic, anti-Christian. Where is that in here? Ageism. You don't think old people are discriminated against? I mean, it's inclusive to some people because some people believe in what you believe in. Well, guess what? It's not inclusive to everybody. Another point that I brought up last time as well, everyone has the right to life. There's people that believe the right to life begins at the moment of conception, not the moment that a baby breathes air. So you really want to hash this out? Let's hash this out. Let's be inclusive of everybody, the born, the unborn, the Christians, the Jews, everything. That's inclusive. So when you say something simply as, it's safe, we don't approve of hatred, we accept everybody. That means I accept everybody that's heterosexual, homosexual, and Jewish, Christian, Catholic, whatever you want to be, I'm okay with. But when you start hand-picking certain things, that's what I'm against.
And for me, when I was reading the whereas that says the Holyoke City Council believes in the right of all people to lead lives of peace, dignity, free from fear, harassment, and violence, all people, each one of us, every one of us. But when we start pitting one group against another by making one group more special in any way, and I'm not going to pick out any on the list because we could all make our own list. As soon as you start doing that, you're walking away from the American dream, which is that everybody can live in this country and have the benefits of these rights. And once we start taking that apart piece by piece and picking out certain groups that can have this and certain groups that then can't, because if one group gets something at the expense of another, then that other group has then lost something. I think we're missing the bigger point of what our country is all about. And so as long as we stick with the everybody, all for one, one for all, I'm in favor of this language. As soon as it starts to divide us, then I can't support it.
So I just want to make one thing very clear, and that everybody here and everybody watching understands that being gay is not a lifestyle. It's not something you pick up at a department store and that you wear. It is my identity. And when I walk around this city or the world, wherever I go in the world, I should be accepted. What Jossie Valentin wants to see pass is not just my rights, but everybody's rights, okay? Whether it's an officer, a child. I would just love that everyone in this room, gone through what I've gone through as a child. Just for 1 minute, think of what it was to be Juan growing up in Holyoke as a child. And everything, the strength that got me here. It was so hard. So if I see Councilor Valentin wanting to pass something that would protect my granddaughter, then I would like to see it passed too. And if obviously it doesn't affect you, right? Because I don't know what's the big deal. Why you guys don't see how simple this is, but yet you make it harder? I don't think you get it. Because you don't live in my skin. It probably hasn't happened to you because you're safe. Walk out of that bubble for a minute. Walk in my shoes. And then you'll see what we're talking about. But yet you want to fight that.
As far as adopting the resolution, I have no problem. I have no problem standing up for the identities, for the classes, for who's been singled out in here. But I think Mike Sullivan's message, but I think more important, the message is that we need to adopt a unanimous resolution saying we are a good city and we're against hate. I think we're in this, Danny, the anti-immigrant, because you and I know, and a few other people in this room know, we are descendants of Irish immigrants. There is no other immigrant in the United States of America that have seen what the Irish saw in the mid-1800s in Ireland. And those that came over here were welcomed, and all immigrants should be welcomed and should be given a chance. The Irish immigrant across the street saw the sign, Irish need not apply. That's hate. The Irish immigrant didn't, attack the store. They took over City Hall. And they said, let's change this. And if that's what we're doing, that's fine. Let's send the message. But let's send a positive message, not one of that we can't agree to. Let's send one that's universal, that we are a good city, and we are a city that doesn't hate.
My comments are very simple because at the end of that third whereas, it says, we are adamantly committed to protecting all these, and it singles out a handful of identities, but then it says, and all other targeting of residents based on their identities or perceived identities. So it really does have that blanket statement in there to cover everyone and whatever identities they hold for themselves.
Councilor Leahy.
Yeah, I kind of find that offensive and insulting. As a son of an immigrant, my father came over here back in 1965. He should not be listed in the catch basin. He should not be listed as one sentence that covers everybody. If other people are listed, why can't I have the right to have my father in immigration listed? Why couldn't Howie Graney have age discrimination listed? This is like picking and choosing, but yet we're not allowed to pick or choose. We're just presented with something, and luckily my amendment to add public servants passed 10-2. But I also believe that we should also put immigration in there, age discrimination. My father came over here. I'm sorry?
Immigration is in there. That's what Joe was speaking to just before.
Okay. Well, the thing is, age discrimination is not in there. Women over the age of 40 is a protected class. Pregnancy is a protected class. There's a lot of things that are missing in this.
Think about, if you're going to vote against it, think about what message that sends versus voting for it.
All I'm saying, folks, is that as much as you want to think it's inclusive, it's not. That simple. So how fair is that? This is not celebrating diversity. This is not inclusiveness. It's not. You've picked the classes and the folks that you associate with or something. I don't know where. I know Northampton came up with this order because I saw it when it passed. It's basically paraphrased from them. But again, this isn't Northampton. There's a lot of Irish Catholics in this town. I'm sure you're aware of that. And there's a lot of Christians in this town. But there's nothing about Christians, and Christians are being slaughtered.
I'll just say one comment. I signed on to this order when Councilor Valentin first proposed it.
Yep.
Because I didn't see it in the faction of only singling out people. I read the first sentence, which everyone has correctly put. The City Council adopt a resolution affirming the City of Holyoke's commitment to being a safe and accepting community, period. And then you get the whereases because with anything, we're just trying to say stuff as to how we feel. You can go throughout this thing, whereas the City of Holyoke believes in the rights of all people. You'll see all people throughout here. And then in one whereas, as we all know, we try and point out certain things that mean to us. So to Councilor Valentin, to those in Northampton, this section that we're all caught up on kind of talked about certain groups. Could you elaborate more on every other group? You could, but to certain people, that's what they wanted to get heard. They didn't say just this group. They've said throughout this entire document, all. It's littered throughout here.
And as a conservative woman, I think I can very safely speak to what it feels like to be a minority in this city. Dare I put a Trump sticker on my car?
I want this to be seen publicly because I think it's the best way to demonstrate our transparency when we think about what we say here. Those who talk the walk and those who do the walk as well.
I would like a roll call for the public, for the record. Nothing out of the ordinary. Could I have colleagues please support my roll call?
Second.
Yes, second.
Thank you.
Anderson Burgos,
100% yes.
Bartley,
No.
Bresnahan,
No.
Leahy,
Yes.
Lebron-Martinez,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
McGiverin,
Yes.
Sullivan,
No.
Tallman,
Yes.
Vacon,
No.
Valentin.
Yes.
8 yeas, 4 nays.
With your vote, you approved it.
Thank you. Trump did not win in Holyoke by any way, chance, or form. There was no margin there. I respect those who voted for him. I respect those who voted for Hillary or Bernie or whoever they voted for. But the reality is that the politics of the nation have shifted, that there is a tone in our societies that is more intense and less accepting than it had been before. And perhaps it was always there and the blindfold just kind of came off. But I think that it is our responsibility as representatives of the city of Holyoke to make sure that our message is strong, that we do not stand by this. And so again, it is happening in our backyard. And there's this kind of tone of this doesn't happen here, we're all a great happy family. And I think the first step is to recognize the reality. And the reality is that we have a problem. We have a problem in Holyoke, and we have a problem in all the communities that surround Holyoke. And unless we really have a true, sincere, honest conversation about it, we are doing ourselves a disservice.